Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mo and welcome to Mo Reads It, and today we are doing all the books I read in 2021. So I pretty much comfort read all through 2021. That was my 2021. It was good. I enjoyed it deeply. So a lot of these books I'm pretty sure you've already read, I'm pretty sure you've already heard of, I'm pretty sure you already know, and I'm pretty sure they're some of your favorites potentially, or potential favorites. So according to Goodreads, as of December 24th, 2021, I have read 66 books. I did not start reading until March of 2021 though. That's why I started my comfort reading journey, and I was more reading because I really wanted to read, but I didn't know what to read. I had gone so long without reading that I was just like, let me just go back to my faves. And that's how this whole journey reunited. So, all the books I read in 2021. Let's go. Out of the 66 books, like, about 4 of them are probably like throwaway books because they're like a cookbook or like an art book that I got that I just want to know that. I also use Goodreads for like my collection to like keep track of everything. So I know what books I have and what books I don't have. So sometimes they're just there for my convenience. But I read mostly old books that I used to read in my YA days. So a lot of these will be YA books and some new books that Book Talk has been talking about. And I'm just like, I should probably read that. I'm going back on my journey of reading and I think I will enjoy that dearly. So since there's 66 books, I'll do these by series groupings and then I'll do them by individual books. So right off the bat, I pretty much read every single Cassandra Clare Shadowhunter book except for the Magus Bane series. Yes, every single book. I started off with this Mortal Instruments series. I don't know. It used to be a trilogy and then it wasn't a trilogy. But I started off with Mortal Instruments first and I read all the Mortal Instrument books. Overall, I give the series a 4 now, but when I read it back when I was younger in my YA days, when I was like in high school, I'm pretty sure I gave this series like a 5. This wasn't amazing to me, but as I've grown, and her writing has grown as I've grown, I've loved some of her later work more than her original work in City of Bones, and I love Infernal Devices and the Last Hour series so much. Sometimes it hurts my heart how much I love it. But naturally, I had to do all of these. So good. Love them. Totally a comfort read, and it's 5 stars in my heart because it's worthy of my shelves. Actually, I'm gonna rebuy them so that one, I have all of them in the same paperback, and I have the paperback that actually has this cute little spine binding, and those will be the ones that I write in and I annotate because it needs annotation. Like the Shadowhunter world, it needs annotation for me because sometimes I forget all the details between all the different series, and I just want to like fully immerse myself in the fandom, you know? And then I read the novellas. Magus Bane is not a comfort read for me, but it is on worthy of my shelves by default because it is part of the Shadowhunter world and I needed to keep track of things and details and the backstories of some of my favorite characters, so it's here by default. But also read this. I got honestly probably give it like a 2 stars. It's readable. It's okay. Some of the stories are really good. Some of them are just useless in my opinion. But enjoy having this when it comes to backstories of my favorite characters. Really useful. Not a comfort read, but worthy of my shelves. And I read it in 2021. First time reading these two. Ghost of the Shadow Market and Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy. These are all novellas for the Shadow world. I love Ghost of the Shadowhunter Market more than Tales of the Academy, but I really liked hearing Simon's point of view on things. This one is totally comfort read, 5 star. I feel like Jem and Tessa need their own series exclusively for themselves. I'm just saying, if it happens, I'm not going to complain. So, and then Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy. I found this really cute and very sweet, and I really liked it. It was pretty good. I think it's like a 3.7 for me, but overall, not super comfort reading, but needing for the Shadowhunter series. Kind of comfort reading by default. The novellas for the Shadowhunter world. By the way, this book looks like this because it's an ex-library book that I bought used. I do plan on like trying to like revive it and get this annoying plastic stuff off of it one day, but until that day comes, we are just gonna have to deal with this. I got it for a really good price though. Very happy about that. Books are expensive. And of course, the Dark Artifices. I have the exclusive editions from Fairyloot that has sprayed edges and exclusive runes on them. Love it! This was my birthday gift this year, and funny enough, out of the entire like Shadowhunter world, Dark Artifices is just not my favorite series out of all of them. Trilogy out of all of them. Like, Emma, I just couldn't relate with her. Ty, loved. Livy, loved. Julian, loved. But Emma, she annoyed me. I couldn't deal with her. So, not a comfort read, but I enjoyed it way more reading it this time than I tried to read it in college many years ago, and I totally DNF'd it in Lord of Shadows after forcing myself through Lady Midnight, and I was just like, yeah, no, not for me, not my favorite Shadowhunter World book. Put me in a deep reading slump back then that I never actually recovered from. But I really like how they changed the covers though, because before the original covers were two alike. This is Queen of Air and Darkness, Lady Midnight, and Lord of Shadows. I'm happy what they did with Lord of Shadows. It's 10 times better than it used to be. I do love Ty and Livy and pretty much every other character in the Dark Artifices way more than I like Emma, so they carry the series for me. Not a comfort read necessarily, but definitely a comfort read by default because it's in the Shadowhunter world, just like the Bane Chronicles and the novellas. But yeah, overall, it's 3.5, and that's really pushing it because all the other characters are carrying it besides Emma, but she still happens to be the main character. Maybe one day I'll grow more fond of her. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes over time I just grow more fond of characters. Then I moved on to the Infernal Device series, which is my favorite series out of the Cassandra Clare novels, but I'm pretty sure Last Hours is going to take my series favorite for Shadowhunter books once the final book comes out. But I did Clockwork Angel as my hardcore favorite book of the entire series. Amazing book. Shattered my world. Overall, the series gets 5 stars. Comfort read. And of course I had to do the Shadow and Bone trilogy just because the Netflix series came out. That's the only reason I want to read this series, and everyone was hyping it up. I did not like it. I thought it was overhyped. I thought it was okay. I just thought it was okay. But it did lead the way. It opened the door. It did its work to Six of Crows and Korea Kingdom. I'm not gonna lie, I did not like Six of Crows the first time I read it. The second time I read it, I think I'm gonna love it. But I loved Korea Kingdom. I feel like this is where my mind was open. This is when I finally felt immersed into the world. And after this, reading this for the first time, rereading this I think will become a 5 stars, but right now, it's still a 2-3 until I reread it, and 5 stars. 3. Solid 3, maybe 3.5. Not to mention that both Shadow and Bone Trilogy and Six of Crows put me in a very deep book reading slump, and I was very mad about that, and also disappointed because I really wanted to read something I enjoyed. Six of Crows will have a redemption story because I will be rereading it in the future when my heart is emotionally prepared. And of course, I had to do the Last Hours series. This was my first time reading the Last Hours series by Cassandra Clare. Overall, 5 stars. The first book is a 4 for me. The second is a 5-star read. But I love this series so far. James might win over Will. He really might. But I love the series. I like the covers. They're so beautiful and darling. I can't wait to see the 3rd book and the 3rd cover. But love them. I'm actually doing a reread of this one. I just finished rereading this one as well. So this will be my second time rereading the series so far. Really like it. Overall, 4 stars and a comfort read. And of course, an oldie but a goodie. Twilight, you guys. I did it. I reread it. I think I reread Twilight almost regularly every year. It's one of my favorite comfort reads. I love it. The hype was not lost on me. I even read Midnight Sun. I enjoyed it. Overall, 5 stars. Comfort read for a fact. Woo. As far as Midnight Sun goes, I actually really like Stephenie Meyer's older writing, her older style of writing, like how the original Twilight saga was written. This is just personal opinion. I know a lot of people didn't like her writing. I had no problem with it, but I read for joy. I'm not a hardcore literary analyst type person. I literally just read for a good time and to have an adventure in a completely different world than my own. 5-star comfort read. No one was surprised by this. So this was actually my first time reading this series. It ended up being a comfort read for me because of the season that I ended up reading it in, but I thought this was YA. This is not YA. Did not know that going into it. I just did not realize that going into it. But anyway, A Court of Thorns and Roses. I ended up buying the entire box set because I read them all on Kindle, and I wanted to have the physical copies because all of my favorites and 5-star reads end up as physical copies on my shelves. So, hardback, always. So I got the entire collection in hardback, and I'm not gonna lie, the first book was a 3-star read for me. This one was like a 4.7, but my nostalgia and joy of reading it and the season that I was reading it brought it to a 5. But overall, I do have so many nitpicks about Sarah J. Maas's writing style. It's just not my writing style particularly per se for what I enjoy reading, but I had a good time reading it. So it is a reread for me. It is a 5-star read, and it is a comfort read. Which naturally led me to the Throne of Glass, because everyone was telling me Throne of Glass was actually better than ACOTAR, and it was better written, and it is definitely better written in my opinion. And this was a 3-star read for me, but I feel like it's going to have the same beginning as ACOTAR. Like, the first book, you can completely throw it away, because the second book is tremendous. It will do everything the first book wanted to, needed to do, and do it 10 times better. And that's how I feel about Sarah J. Maas's writing, or that's my potential thought process on it, honestly, because I haven't read the second book in the series. But I think the second book to this will probably be better, and I'll enjoy it more, and I'll be able to enjoy the rest of her series as a smooth growing pace. But this was also one of the books I read in 2021. I did read this years ago in college, and I hated it. It was one of the I honestly DNF'd it because it was just so bad. I did love the series enough to get it in the collector's edition as well. I'm just gonna put that out there because I love collector editions of books. They are so A1. Chef's Kiss, beautiful. You can't tell me that's not gorgeous. Where it all began, in the woods. So these next 2 books I definitely read on my Kindle, and I'm glad I did. I do want it in hardback because I love the cover, but it's Fable and Namesake. I think Fable was definitely a 3-star read, and Namesake was like a 4. But I really enjoyed these books. I think it was good immersion. Like, it kept me going throughout the entire reading series. I could read them really quickly. They were such an easy read. And I read them this 2020-21. They were not a comfort read for me, but they did have me captivated enough that they have the potential to be. Potential. I'm not sure if I'm going to flex on the potential to see if it'll actually work, but it definitely has the potential, especially after I saw Adrienne Young's Pinterest for it. It definitely made me more immersed, and that's what I need for my reading. I need to be fully immersed. So yeah, I think it will have potential. I probably will try it again later, and I will try more of Adrienne Young's writing in 2022. Not gonna lie, I picked up this book because of the cover, because it was gorgeous. TikTok made me do it, and I have regrets because I did not read it properly. I did not read this book properly. There are information at the beginning of each chapter about where you are and what time period you're in. I wish I actually read those because half the time I was confused because I didn't know we were skipping back and forth in a timeline. It didn't occur to me, so I read it wrong, but I really like it. It's super atmospheric. It's not very romantic, in my opinion, even though it's labeled as a... Even though it has romance in it, it's not super romantic. I think it's more atmospheric, and honestly, I don't even think the synopsis is that good for this book. But yeah, I got it used, so I'm happy. I do plan on doing a reread of this because I think it could be a potential 5-star read. It wasn't a comfort read for me. I kind of was just basic. But I think if I read it properly, it probably will become a comfort read, so potential. I think I gave this... I didn't give this a rating because I read it wrong, and I don't feel right giving a rating to a book that I clearly did not read correctly. So, no stars. Not because it's bad or anything, just because I just did not read this correctly at all. You guys are gonna hate me for this one. Y'all are gonna hate me for this one. From Blood and Ash, one of the worst books I've ever read in 2021. Actually, the worstest. That's not even a word. The worst book I ever read in 2021, period. 1 star. I did not like it. It definitely read like fan fiction to me. It definitely read like, it was not even grammatically correct. And I'm not even a grammar Nazi, but I saw how many typos and errors there were in the writing, and I was just like, what? This is odd. How did this get published if it has so many typos? But it definitely felt like the Mod Podge of like Twilight, ACOTAR, and a bunch of other YA books kind of just like meshed into one. And it didn't do it for me. Like, definitely 1 star. The pacing was terrible. The pacing in A Court of Thorns and Roses wasn't that great either, but like, it was one of my nitpicks, but I could get through it. This one, when I put it down, I didn't really have any tendency to want to pick it back up. So, yeah. I'm gonna read the next book. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know if I could force myself to do that, but I hope it gets better, just like ACOTAR got better. But if you like ACOTAR, you probably will like From Blood and Ash. It's just not for me. I don't like it. I don't care for it. I like ACOTAR. I think it came to me in the right season of my life. A book can change. I'm a mood reader. A book can change based off when it comes into the season of my life, and From Blood and Ash was not ready for it. It did nothing for me. So, yeah, no. Ooh, another book I read, also on my Kindle. Actually, I got this one as a library book, and then I listened to parts of it on audiobook. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn and Hugo. Amazing. 5-star read. Could totally be a comfort read, but I don't want to reread it because, honestly, I am not going to reread it. Like, once I know, like, what happens, I don't feel the need to reread it again. I just don't want to. I don't care to. 5-star reads. Definitely reading more of Taylor Jenkins' work. I even hauled some of her books over in my other book haul. If you guys check that out, you will see I hauled one of her books to read in 2022 because that woman's writing, chef kiss. Give the woman an award, give her some trophies. She deserves every single one. I don't think I've read something so beautifully written before. Gosh. If she wrote fantasy, she probably would become if she wrote fantasy romance, she probably would become one of my favorite authors. Sorcery of Thorns, I definitely gave this a 4 stars. It was a great book. I really enjoyed it. I definitely want to read more books by this author. 4 stars all the way. Not a comfort read for me, but I think some of her future books probably will be. I'm looking at Verspine? It starts with a V. I don't remember what it's called exactly, but it starts with a V, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading that one. 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. Made me cry, made me blubber at like 5 a.m. in the morning because I stayed up all night reading it. I really liked it. Not a comfort read for me because there is like chronic illness in it, and that is triggering for me, so I probably won't read it. Also, it made me cry, and most of my comfort books don't make me cry. This is more of a, like, I want to be reminded of life book, and I feel like this book did it really well for me. And I probably would reread it for that reason, but I feel like I have other books that do that 10 times better, so I probably won't get to rereading it because I'll just read those instead. But liked it. Was it a comfort read? Not necessarily. Raybearer. Really like this book. 4-star read. I really want to read the second one, but I probably won't read it anytime soon. It is a duology, so I'm not in a rush because there is another book coming out soon that I have to read to catch up to read the other book. Liked it. Pretty darn good. The Midnight Lie. I like this book. It was also a 4-star read for me. It was really good. I enjoyed it. It was also a 4-star read for me. Total comfort read, Hunger Games. I did read the rest of the trilogy, but Hunger Games is the only book I will ever have in my collection. I do not like the rest of this trilogy. 5-star read, the collection, no. Only the first book. And it's the only one that's a comfort read. 5 stars, all the way. Amazing. I even rewatched the movie, and you know what? I'm probably going to rewatch the movie again, because it was good. A comfort read that I don't feel like a lot of people talk about that much, for me at least, is Under the Never Sky Trilogy. I love all 3 books in the series. This is my ex-library book that looks kind of beaten up and, like, abused. I plan on trying to restore it and recover it. Pray tell that I can, because this thing looks bad. So I'm going to try to restore this, but if not, it's okay. At least I have it in hardback and I can reread it over and over again because it is a comfort read for me. It is 5 stars. So, Punk 57. Tell me how I did not know this was erotica. I did not know. So I read this like going into it thinking it was like romance. It was romance. I don't even think it was that romantic. It was mostly erotica, just straight up. But I did not care for it. I thought it was going to be romantic. It wasn't that romantic in my personal opinion. It is what it is. I thought it was a 3-star read. Not a comfort read for me. I probably would never reread this again. I thought it was a waste of my time. But this is also my fault because I thought it was romance and not erotica, so I can only blame myself in this situation. The Invisible Life of Addie, LaRue. Tell me how I wanted this book in like the special collector's edition from the UK Waterstones edition. Sold out in like a few days, never was able to get it, but my friend's going to England and she said she'll bring me back a copy if she can find one. Super happy. This is a 4-star read for me. I did like it. I wish it was more, I wish it was faster. I wish the pacing was faster and had a bit more adventure in it, because I really thrive on like adventure and fantasy romance, but I think it was good. I definitely want to like V. Schwab's writing way more, but right now I'm just, it hasn't clicked in me. It hasn't solidified in me yet. But I think I read A Darker Shade of Magic, which is my next read that I'm not going to give a rating for because I honestly feel like I read it in the wrong season of my life and I just did not like it, even though it had every reason to become one of my favorite books. Like, I think I just read it in the wrong season. I was just forcing myself to read it because everyone said it was good, even though I know I'm a mood reader and I need to read things when I want to read them, not like thrust upon me. So, no rating, but I did read A Darker Shade of Magic this year in 2022. Not a comfort read either. Ooh, Get a Life, Chole Brown. I really did like this one. It is I think a contemporary romance. I don't really know. 4-star read for me. I did love how Chloe has a chronic illness, but it was so playful and lighthearted of how she dealt with it, and it really helps me because I recently discovered I also have a chronic illness, and lately chronic illnesses have been triggering me in books, and I found the way the book conveyed chronic illness to be so lighthearted. It helped me be more lighthearted with my own chronic illness. But I'm not gonna get into that. Really like this book. 4 stars. I like the writing. I like the diversity in character cast. I enjoyed a lot of things about this book. Would I read the next few books? I'm not sure. I don't know if romance contemporary is really for me, but we shall see. I don't know. I'm trying to get into contemporary, but I just don't like it. I'm trying to get into romance contemporary, but it's just so normal, and I just don't care for normal. I want fantasy, I want adventure, I want paranormal. I want things to blow up in the sky and people to have wings and fly around. I want aliens to come down. I want sci-fi. Along with a lot of books I read, I also read some of the companion novels. Like, I read the Twilight Saga Illustrated Guide, and I also read the novellas for Shadowhunters, for the Shadowhunter world. Okay, and I think that's it. That's all the books I read in 2021. 60 plus-ish books, and I pretty much comfort read my whole way through 2021 from March to now. I'm liking it here. It was a joy. I do want to read newer books in 2022, and I do want to read different genres. I'm trying to get into historical fiction and romance, historical romantic fiction, and manga. That's my next goal, because I have been into anime lately, so I think I would like to pick up some of that manga from the books I really enjoyed. And this series does not include all the other books I read in health and wellness, productivity, Christian living, and theology, because I read a lot of different genres. But this channel is mostly about fantasy, so these are mostly my fantasy books. But this channel is mostly about like my fun reads, so here y'all go. If you pretty much comfort read your way through 2021, please let me know in the comments down below, because I would love to know what you read. I will probably be doing more comfort reading in 2022. I love comfort reading. Escapism is lovely.